Well, Alexis, so let's start with this interview. After more than 20 years of Hot Chip and several presentations in Buenos Aires, I think this is your first time outside a festival in here. How do you guys feel about it?
I feel really excited. I think we did play one show that wasn't a festival years and years ago when we first came. My memory might be mistaken, but I thought the place we played was our own show rather than a festival. But either way, I'm very much looking forward to coming back and playing again. It's one of my favorite places to visit with the band and to play music and to walk around and look at the beautiful city and visit secondhand kind of collectible stores and bookstores and to eat nice food, and we've been very warmly welcomed by fans before. So yeah, it's exciting that we're coming back, and it's always, it's a special place for Hot Chip. We've had a good kind of run of shows in Buenos Aires, so I'm looking forward to coming back again. And I was saying to the previous journalist I was talking to, although it's rather obvious, I do really like the writer Borges. So for me, I connect, this place I'm visiting with that writing. So I often am looking for more books or just rereading the same ones when
you can go to the National Library. There's a statue of Borges over there, and the library is a beautiful place, a very beautiful place, and I can recommend some places for eating. I know you're vegan, so yeah, I've got a lot of good places. So when you came here, I would recommend you to go and visit these places and the Mercado de Pulgas when you can buy some second-hand things, as you say. So we're really looking forward for you guys to come here. And I have a question. What about performing live after the pandemic of COVID-19?
It's a strange thing to talk about, really, but I feel like I'm still getting my head around all of the different repercussions from COVID-19 on society. So I don't find it difficult to perform music. I find it really enjoyable, and I love the fact that if crowds are there and if they feel comfortable and if they have moved on from any major fear about catching the virus, then I feel like the atmosphere is very special, and it's even more special perhaps than it ever was before, because people missed this for a long time. They had live music taken away from them. So that's one side of it, which I think is fantastic. But there's also the fact that I just feel like the landscape has really changed for a lot of people in the music industry and for a lot of audiences as well. So people's future in music is more in jeopardy than it was before. Whether people can afford to travel to places and tour, or whether they even, I'm not talking about our band specifically, but lots of bands find it harder mentally to do the same things they used to do before. And also, people can't sometimes afford to tour in the modern world where energy prices are higher and there are people battling against recession and so on. So I think also people's priorities have been changed by the fact that people underwent a period of introspection or living at home more and not working from where they used to go to work. I'm not saying this is for everybody. It's some people it's not a problem, but it's sometimes I think we're beyond all of that and it's all fine in my head. And other times I think, no, I don't know, everything's different. And sometimes it feels different in a way that is hard to put your finger on and hard to summarize, but it's a strange old thing to happen, really.
Yeah, you got a lot of responsibility in your shows, and with the people who's feeling different things. And in the lockdown, there were so much complicated moments, and people lost familiars and friends, and it was very hard. But of course, music allows us to 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 full our energy, and that's what you were talking about. And now, talking about your latest album, Freakout release. When I saw the title of the album and heard it for the first time, I felt that the division between the two words of the title was also in the sounds of it. I heard like two parts. One happier with house, disco, and groovy sounds, and another more melancholic, and sometimes in the lyrics or in the bass lines and other cerebral theme sounds. But that's my opinion, obviously, Alex. But what is yours?
My opinion of it is that as a group of songs, I think the lyrics are quite melancholic, or not really melancholic, but they are. I think if they were melancholic, they might be somebody saying, I feel great sadness. Whereas what the words are saying, if I can summarize them, is they're often observing difficulties that people around me are going through, and sometimes they're about me or about Joe from his perspective, but there's a little bit more of an observational quality, and I think that is there because of COVID-19 and because of the impact it's had on other people. So yes, there are songs where I'm singing directly about myself, but also there are songs, quite a few of them, which are describing other people's challenges they have mentally. They might be to do with, well, I don't need to go into the great detail of it, but I think overall, to answer your question, it's a record with quite serious lyrical ruminating going on. And I didn't really realize until we sequenced it that it would appear like that, because maybe there were a few other songs that didn't quite make it to the final sequence, and once you take those off and then you put them all together, and you have a song about being out of your depth, and you have a song about feeling broken, and you have a song, Eleanor, which is incredibly optimistic sounding, but still there are words in it which are about families separated from each other. It makes for quite, and also the evil that men do, it makes for quite a serious journey lyrically, and basically that's what I think it is, and I don't think we really intended to make that statement, but because we don't always investigate everything that we're doing with great scrutiny, but rather we allow quite a lot of unconscious things to come into the music and the words, it means that you can sometimes only discover what the feeling of it is after you've made it and after you've released it. So I think that's how I would summarize it. But I think that there's always this kind of tension in Hot Chips music between propulsive dance music and quite introspective lyric writing. But I do think of all of the records we've made, it's probably got the least sense of humor and the least light-hearted feel. Only really this song Eleanor has this section in the middle about Samuel Beckett and Andre the Giant, which is a bit more whimsical. But the rest of the record, whether they're my lyrics or Joe's, they're quite serious in tone, I think.
Yeah, of course. So
and I don't want that to put anybody off. I think that the music can still be listened to without you having to feel, oh my God, this is so serious and so depressing. It doesn't feel like that to me, but there are things being said in the words which are to do with people's challenges they have in life.
Yeah, okay. Well, new album, Alexis, new tracks, and a new video with, I think, a mixture of Wallace and Gromit and the fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson to complete a very nice work. I really love that. I'm an actor and I love cinema and I love these pieces. So the main character of this video of Fellner, after suffering a series of unfortunate events, realizes that she or he, I don't know if I'm correct, is in a kind of a Truman Show. So the third movie in here, for me, when I was looking at the video, and can shape reality. This character can shape reality in his own way. When he realizes or she realizes that she's like in this Truman Show. Do you think that after 20 years of career, you were able to shape your own, despite obviously on what's happening in the world around us?
Do I think that we have been able to shape our own career?
As a band, as a music player, as a writer too, as a person?
Yes, I mean, it's a pretty big and deep question you're asking. In some ways you are fitting into society and into conventions, and you're able to do something within the music industry and the way in which music is released and presented to people. And you're, in quite a lot of ways, in a band, in our band at least, not in every band, you're going along with these conventions. You're saying, we will do a tour in this order with these consecutive dates to play to the most people we can play to in a logical way, in order that people enjoy it, but also in order that you can get from A to B and earn some money and be able to make the next record and put it together in a way that has some logic to it. So that is being shaped partly by the industry standards of how you do things. And you can look at somebody else like Will Oldham, who releases music under the name Bonnie Prince Billy, as somebody who doesn't like to work in such a conventional way. If he does a tour, he just does a tour of usually of a specific country or a specific region within a country, rather than I will be in Buenos Aires, Argentina one day, and I'll be in Sao Paulo, Brazil the next day. He won't really do that. He will do something which covers less ground in a quick way, and it covers a smaller surface area, but goes deep into that country. And he will also often do this not when his record is out. So if he has a new album, he won't necessarily tour that album. He will just tour when he wants to tour. So there are these exceptions to the rule, and I think that shapes a career in quite an interesting way, and it builds an audience with him in a different way from the way that we do. However, within what we're doing and the way that we operate, and we're helped by a manager and a booking agent and a record label and press agents and so on, we still have some control over the shape of our career, because it's based on the music that we make, and the music that we make
it came from inside.
It comes from us, and nobody else is telling us to do it differently or to change it or saying you can't release that. I mean, obviously that could still happen. We might make a record that the label doesn't want to release. But so I think there's a lot of freedom within what we do, which should not be taken for granted. And there are lots of people living their lives who have much less freedom than we do, and who don't travel the world, and who don't have people queuing up to watch their band play or being validated in some way by that experience. So I feel like there's definitely a lot of control that we have been able to have, but also, like I said at the beginning, it's within a context which is a platform that helps people to sell a commercial product in a way, and that sort of comes from America originally, I suppose. The idea of manufacturing recordings, selling multiple copies, mass producing, working out a way to sell this exciting new thing. Which, at one point we could only hear music if we went to a concert, and then there was this invention of a recording, and gradually it became affordable for people to mass produce records. And that American culture, obviously it's not only from America, but a lot of popular music stems from that as the birthplace, is massively influential on me and how the band that we're in does what we're doing. I don't ignore that beginning. I'm really quite interested in the beginning of recorded music, and some of my favorite music comes from there, and obviously it extends beyond America. I'm just making the point that may have been the kind of the starting point for this place that we're within, in answer to your question.
Yeah, perfect. And I must confess, Alexis, that I'm a Hardship fan, and I really miss you since last time with Chemical Brothers in Sonar Festival 2015. I was there and I had a really good time, and so I had to thank you, guys, for that concert. And for the fam, what we'll be able to see next Thursday in Buenos Aires, and what is coming next for this band?
Well, what you can look forward to is a new show with tracks from the newest record. Quite a lot of the newest record is what we're playing, and lots of greatest hits songs. Not that we've had loads of hits, but things from our back catalogue. And also, I don't know for sure, but I hope there will be. It depends. At the moment, what we're doing with our touring, it depends from one venue to the next, but there may be a kind of new visual element to it as well for that show. I hope there will be. It should be there, as far as I know. So I think it will be a different take on what people have seen and heard from Hot Chip before, and I hope that it's exciting and exhilarating to hear these new songs live, because we're not very good at doing them the same as the way they sound on record, so they always take on a new form live anyway.
Okay, Alexis, we're running out of time. I have to thank you very much for this interview. And last thing, could you make a heart with your hands? Could you make a heart?
Try.
A heart.
This
a heart. Yeah. This is our heart from Argentina. So Alexis Taylor from Hot Chip. We're hoping to see you on next Thursday. Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure.
All right, thanks very much for having me on. Take care.